I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact focused on personal growth, my Knowledge Workbook series and Creative Healing course can help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about, was I insecure or were they disrespecting me? Finding out what that healthy balance can be challenging sometimes. When you're in a relationship, people have different needs and they have different opinions. So sometimes it can be hard for us to figure out, well, am I being unreasonable here? Because a lot of times in life, there is no right answer to things, especially when we're dealing with two people who see a relationship in different ways and have different needs and different opinions. So figuring out that balance can be really tricky. And sometimes we find ourselves wondering, well, was I being too sensitive about this thing? Would other people be bothered by it? Am I blowing things out of proportion? Because a lot of times your partner will tell you that you are, right? Now, sometimes it's because they're wanting to do what they want to do and they don't want to be held accountable and they're gaslighting you, they're manipulating you. And so it could be really tricky sometimes figuring out what that balance is. Today I've got an interesting email coaching that it's going to go through a lot of different things here. And they're wondering, was I insecure? Was I being disrespected? Let's take a closer look and see what you guys think. They said, hey, Coach Craig, I was in a relationship with a girl who I thought I would marry for almost 10 months. She was my first real love, and I believed we had something special. She told me that I was her first real boyfriend. And for a while, everything felt genuinely beautiful. We shared affection, laughs, future plans, everything. I loved her deeply, and I truly thought we could build a life together. But from early on, there was one thing I struggled with. Her friend group, specifically her ex, was part of it. She dated him very briefly, only for a week, but he is her childhood friend. They went to elementary school together and claimed it wasn't serious, that they just kissed. Still, they were extremely close. I didn't even know he was her ex at first. When I found out about 5 months in, after her group had a co-ed sleepover, I was shocked. But I said I'd be okay with it as long as he respected boundaries. Quite a lot, okay? Finding out that they dated 5 months in would be like, that would take you aback because you're like, wait, why didn't you just tell me this sooner? But then to hear that they're doing a co-ed sleepover, it would be like, well, hang on. At the same time, they only dated for a week. They kissed. But it's certainly putting you in a position to feel uncomfortable. I think most people are going to feel uncomfortable with this, and they're going to want to make sure that this person is respecting your boundaries, meaning the friend, but also her. So let's see what happens. I told her calmly that if he ever crossed the line, I wouldn't feel comfortable with him being part of our lives. Fair enough. He did cross a line. When I offered to meet all her friends to connect and show I was open, he agreed. Then, immediately said afterward, they were all going back to his place for a sleepover, and I wasn't invited. Oof, that would not feel good for quite a few reasons. One, you're trying to get to know this guy and see that he's genuinely a friend. Now, if he is genuinely a friend and there is no romantic intent there anymore, why wouldn't he feel comfortable with you coming? Now, maybe it's just because you just met him, but at the same time, you're asking her and these other people to go back to your place for a sleepover. I'd have a problem with that personally. Some people might not, but I wouldn't like that. That would be crossing the line for me. That included my girlfriend. She didn't go. We didn't go and spent that date together and had our own sleepover. Just the two of us at her place, and her parents supported us. So he made the best of it. He said, okay, let's have a sleepover together. They probably had a great night and had fun. And her parents were supporting it. I don't know how involved they are because he didn't give the ages. At first, my girlfriend was on my side. She admitted his behavior was wrong and said she wouldn't let it slide. But over time, things changed. She became distant, and I could tell the tension was hurting her. She stopped seeing her friends because he was always there. She felt isolated, and I began to feel like the enemy. She was in pain, even cutting herself once out of emotional distress. Okay, so that's really serious when people are cutting themselves. So you got to be very, very careful if you see that kind of behavior. It often means that people are depressed and sometimes even suicidal. Okay, so you got to be really careful. That broke me. I never wanted to be a source of her pain, but her friends started seeing her less because of a healthy boundary for her romantic relationship, and that felt off. It sure does. Why are her friends not including her? Do they want her to be with this other guy? Maybe there's some of that going on that, oh, we always thought you and Jared should be together forever. I made up the name. We think you and Jared are so great and we don't like this new guy. You don't know. You know, he's been around since childhood. And if her friends have been around since childhood, maybe they think they should be together. The breaking point came just recently. Her parents supported me throughout this, especially her dad. They saw the manipulation and tried to help. They called a group meeting. This is going to get pretty wild. They called a group meeting at their house and invited all her friends, including me and her ex, for a talk. Pretty wacky, right? I can't say I've ever heard of this. It's like an intervention with the ex-boyfriend and him. And the friends. They're all getting their opinions in here. And it's all, be with Jared. I was blindsided. It turned into an ambush. That same day, they put me in the family name list for a house blessing by a priest, and I thought, whoa, things will go well, right? Every time I spoke, I was shut down. That's the problem. You don't get it, was the only reply I kept hearing. He doesn't have to agree. Just because they have an opinion on sleepovers at Jared's house doesn't mean he has to like it or agree with it. This is his relationship, okay? It's his romantic partner. And I think many of you would have a real problem with an ex or spending time at an ex's house and they're all having a sleepover, but you're not invited. Why? If he really is a friend, why does he want to not get to know you, right? Because probably there's something more there. Her friends backed the ex completely. We love Jared. Her sister even began defending group sleepovers with guys, saying she shares a bed with guys and that her boyfriend, quote unquote, better not mind or I'll beat him. Real mature. Real mature. I don't think many people are going to be too comfortable with group sleepovers that you're not invited to. Her ex kept mocking me for having insecure views. What do you think, guys? Insecure views? Leave a comment. Do you agree with the friends and the family that he's being insecure? Or do you think that he has every right to be not okay with this. I was outnumbered, humiliated. Nothing I said mattered. It was like being on trial in a courtroom where everyone had already decided I was guilty. He dismissed my concerns, calling me insecure, said I had old-fashioned views, and told me I should just see him as a childhood friend, not an ex. Okay, well then why don't you have me over, Jared? I'll bring the popcorn. Seriously, if you have a real problem with it, why not get to know me? Because if you're genuinely her friend and you genuinely want to be, supportive of her, why not get to know me? Why cause all this stress and animosity? He raised his voice at me. Meanwhile, I saw him sleep over at other girls' places despite having a girlfriend. Something about him just screamed manipulative and disrespectful. Yeah, this guy doesn't seem trustworthy at all. Her dad started yelling at him, though, saying how he is manipulative and disrespectful towards his daughter. Then his older daughter, her sister, started clawing her dad's arm to shut up, and it almost got physical. This is getting pretty wild. Everybody's got an opinion on this relationship, and they're trying to force it onto him. My girlfriend ended things right there in front of everyone after I kept repeating how I don't understand, but I'd love to fix everywhere that I'm wrong. But she won't explain and just kept repeating to herself, well, that is the problem. Packed the gifts I gave her in my bag and put it on the floor. After the others left, we sat together for a while. We talked, we kissed once, but then suddenly she grabbed me and shook me while screaming how I never understood her. Listen, you can have your own opinion on it, lady, but it doesn't mean that you're going to change mine. He can have a different view about this situation. He doesn't have to just go along with it just because you're shaking him and yelling at him, okay? I think many people would see this as unreasonable and unhealthy and manipulative, and you're just trying to bully him into going along with this. And I have a problem with the ex and the way he's going about this, because if he's really the friend, then why not incorporate the new boyfriend, this guy, into this situation and getting to know him? But just sitting there berating him and saying you're insecure and you have old-fashioned views, I mean, come on. Her dad came in and told me to go home. That was the last time I saw her. Later, I sent her a message apologizing for ever making her feel unheard or pressured. I'm going to read that sentence again. I sent her a message apologizing for everything making her feel unheard or pressured. I literally just explained how it was her pressuring him, and yet he's apologizing for what she is doing wrong. I said I never meant to hurt her. How did you hurt her? By not going along with this? By not allowing yourself to get bullied? I didn't, based on what you've written here, and there may be more to the story, what you wrote does not seem like you've hurt her in any way. What did you do that hurt her? You just didn't go along with her sleeping at Guy's house. An ex-boyfriend. I mean, yes, he is a childhood friend, but I just don't trust that guy's agenda. And that I'd always be open to talk if she wanted to. Then she blocked me on almost everything. Been in no contact since. I know I made some mistakes. During arguments, I pushed for closeness while she pushed for space. That mismatch hurt us. Maybe I came off too emotional sometimes. But I never insulted her, never broke her trust, never controlled her. All I asked was for one boundary, that someone who repeatedly disrespected me and our relationship not be involved in our lives. I was fine with all of her other friends, just not him. I would never have done this to her if our roles were swapped. Do I have a chance? Okay, so you don't want to look at it like, do I have a chance? Because that's like, do I have a chance? I messed this up. I did a lot wrong. I hurt her. I lied to her, cheated on her, all those things. I neglected her. Based on what you wrote here, it really should be her trying to get a chance with you. Okay? She's trying to do thoughtless, inconsiderate things that are uncomfortable for you. And I think it would be uncomfortable for a lot of people. So you got to change the way you're looking at this from do I have a chance to, even if we get back together, how happy are you really going to be? What if she continues to sleep over this guy's house and doesn't want to go along with not doing that? Are you really going to be happy? I mean, why would you think she's going to compromise at this point? We don't have any evidence of it so far. Maybe if you leave her alone and she misses you, she can come to that conclusion. Maybe if this guy does have another agenda and he pushes it for her or with her, that could make her see, oh wow, my ex was right, meaning him, and I shouldn't have trusted this longtime friend. But unless she's willing to see your side of things, and more than just this particular issue, because there's going to be plenty of other issues in this relationship, it feels to me like there's a lot of bullying going on in this family, okay? And there's not a lot of empathy or compassion. And I think that if you get back with her, you're going to continue to see these bullying tactics in other areas, not just with this friend. It will be other things where if she has a different opinion and you have a different opinion than hers, that you don't get her. No, I don't think it's not that you don't get her. It's that you still feel uncomfortable with it. I wonder how comfortable she would be if the roles were reversed. She'd probably say, I would be totally fine with it. And then you do it, and she'd be having a hissy fit. No, you can't just stay over at other women's house. So I don't like the way she's navigated this, and I suspect that it would go beyond just this particular issue, even if you got back together. I think she would bully you and treat you this way like, you saw it with the sister and the parents. There's the whole crew is a bunch of bullies. Even the friends were trying to bully you. That you don't get it. Who knows what the agenda is there? There may be more going on than you don't know. Maybe they want her to be with Jared. That's a fake name, by the way. But look, you gotta take a step back here and leave her alone. Think about if this is really what you want. Think about if she's really gonna act like an adult when you have differences in opinion, because we're all gonna have differences in opinions in a relationship. And you have to be able to navigate those things. But I suspect that you're going to continue to see this unhealthy, bullying, pushy behavior onto you in other areas too. And you have to think about, if this is happening with this particular one thing, what's going to happen with others. She just doesn't seem very sensitive to your needs or what you want or how this is making you feel. And all of those things are really important, regardless of what the topic is, right? There's going to be a lot of different topics. But she just is forcing the way things that she wants them to be, or at least trying to. So I'd be really careful here, and I'd be looking to see some maturity and growth from her before you gave her another chance. But tough situation. And of course, if you want to get my help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. You can get my workbooks and my creative healing course only on the website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.